just a conversation.
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Journeys with Judy. We are in Harrisburg, PA tonight, and we are here with Angie Yingst. Thank you for having us. We are here at AltaView Wellness Center. Right? Wellness Center?
Yep.
Okay.
AltaView Wellness Center.
There we go. AltaView Wellness Center. We were here months ago interviewing Sharon and Angie. I asked her, I tried to limit my questions before the show started, but I did find out that you've been here for
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
Area for 6, here for 5.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I looked on your Facebook page, there's a whole list of things that you do.
Yes.
So we are going to get to that.
Okay.
But first we're
That's
going to
good.
start with the easy questions.
Okay.
Okay? Where were you born and raised?
So I was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I was raised in a really small town called Schnecksville.
Schnecksville?
Schnecksville.
Nice.
It's actually, I was kind of in the greater suburbs of Schnecksville, so not even in Schnecksville proper, but yeah, kind of eastern. So, you know where the turnpike goes through the mountain?
Yes,
in the northeast
I
extension.
actually do.
I lived on that side of the mountain. So yeah.
Okay. And how long were you there?
Until I graduated from high school, and then went to college and at Temple University in Philadelphia. So yeah.
Ooh.
And then I
You
was in
went to
Philly.
the big city.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I ran away.
Was that some culture shock there?
It was a big culture shock, yeah.
But it sounds like I feel like you were ready for it.
Yeah, I was really excited to kind of expand my world. My world was kind of small, you know. I really loved growing up in the country, you know, just being able to run and being cornfields and all that stuff. It developed my deep connection with the earth and nature. But then going to the city was meeting different kinds of people, and that was really important to my spiritual growth too, in a lot of ways.
Definitely expands your awareness.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have one identical twin. Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I cheated. I did ask a few questions. She is spiritual as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And she works at an organic market.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
In Cherry Hill. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you best describe your childhood? I mean, you said cornfields and things like that.
Yeah, it was pretty rural. My mom's emigrated to the United States, so she's from Central America. She's from Panama. And my dad's like from Schuylkill County, so it's an interesting mix. It was a multicultural family, so it was an interesting childhood because my mom's one of 12.
Oh, wow.
So I have lots of cousins, but most of them are in Central and South America. So
did you ever visit them?
When I was very young, and then when I was older.
Okay.
So, you know, we didn't exactly have money to take our whole family. So,
Gotcha.
But my parents worked really hard. They were very loving and supportive. So
What did they do?
My dad was a forklift driver.
Okay.
And then he ended up being the general manager of a warehouse. You know, he kind of built his way up. And my mother was a social worker.
Ooh,
and
okay.
so, yeah, she worked in AIDS in the 80s, the mid 80s. So she was like very early working in the AIDS. So we were around lots of different kinds of people in our house. And
Right.
when I went to college, my mom went to college and got her MSW. And
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
so she was very well respected social worker. She's retired now, but she's actually in Panama right now. But
Is she?
she may be watching.
Okay.
She's so supportive. She'll watch me even when she's on vacation.
That's awesome.
So yeah, very
cool.
lucky. I feel very blessed, and my mom is super spiritual too. So it was nice. She definitely gave us crystals and stuff when we were kids. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
So, what's one of your fondest childhood memories?
Oh gosh. We spent a lot of time at the beach, and so I always had great times with my sister exploring, looking for rocks and digging and looking for shells and all of that kind of stuff. So, but I think for me, the best part was my grandparents lived in the woods, and so we had a whole universe in the back there, and it was like the bridge to Terabithia kind of, you know, my sister and I had a whole way of playing, and it just really connected me. And we had a family friend who taught us how to track and find fossils and things like that. So we did a lot of that when I was a kid. So I don't have one in particular. There's just a lot of.
That's so cool.
Yeah, when I think about it, it's always digging in the dirt. You know?
Very nature-based.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Very
exactly.
grounding.
Yes, yeah, and very earthy.
Yeah, very cool. So what was challenging for you as a child?
I think that feeling of not fitting in and being different. My mother used to say that when she would come to that elementary school, she didn't even have to, she only had to look for the black-headed children because everybody was blonde. And so it was kind of a culture, like we felt very different and other. So that's something I still struggle with is, wanting to, feel like I fit in and always feeling kind of other. So, I try to bring that into my work a lot by identifying with others, like we're all others, and everybody kind of feels that way. I've come to recognize and understand that we all kind of feel like the black sheep. So, yeah.
So were the kids not welcoming, or was it just?
At times, but I had a good core group of people that.
Okay, so you did find friends.
I always did. It was more. It's all in here.
I can't imagine you not having friends.
Yeah,
you're very bubbly. And
I get along with people usually. Yeah. So I always had friends, but it was just that feeling. There was a lot of bullying at that time with being different. So I went through a lot of that.
And I'm sure that rolled over into your teenage years through middle school, high school, same struggles.
Yeah, but
anything new thrown in there? That you found challenging?
My dad struggled with drinking and things like that. That ramped up in my teenage years. So it was just a different set of struggles. My parents got divorced, and it felt like my sister and I were on our own a lot. And
how old were you when they divorced?
14.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So I felt like I was totally grown up at that point. So I was like, it's cool, everything's cool. But now I can kind of see how independent and self-reliant I became. And that, is it can be an absolute attribute and something that you really is good. It keeps you survive. Right. But then at some point it keeps you separate from other people. And so, you
had to grow up very fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think that was a struggle. I ended up graduating at 17 and moving out at 17. So moving to the big city.
Big city.
Yeah.
Now, did your sister follow suit? Do the same?
She moved to Pittsburgh. So
she did big city too.
Yeah. But we really struggled being apart.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. It was challenging that first semester. I remember my sister calling me, and I had just woken up from a nightmare, and she would call me and say, "Are you okay?" And
wow.
It was just we were still really in sync, but it was challenging. Yeah.
Wow. So, the longer you two stayed apart, of course, you grew accustomed to it. But did you stay connected?
Yes.
Like you were.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
We've always been really close. Yeah.
Nice. Now, what did you major in?
I started majoring in what was called radio, television, film at the time. So I wanted to write for the radio, and I did internships writing news for WXPN in Philadelphia for a program. And I loved that. But then I did 2 years, and then I dropped out of school and went traveling and exploring.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So then that would be young adulthood. Where did you travel to?
I moved to Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just on a whim, or did you?
I had, so my first husband was from there, so I moved out to, kind of meet him, see if we could have a relationship, and we ended up getting married, and I stayed there for 5 years, something like that, and then came back and finished my degree in comparative religion. So I went back and changed my major, and
that's a pretty big switch.
Yeah. I went back and I started in journalism, and when I was in Tucson, I was really exposed to a lot of different religions, and I spent some time at a Buddhist monastery, and my first husband had a lot of friends that were in Native American. Yeah, he's Yaqui Indian, so we spent time doing different kind of rituals and things like that, and we had Wiccan friends and pagan friends, and so I got exposed to all this stuff, and I was just so fascinated, and I loved every bit of that. And a lot of friends were massage therapists and body workers in Tucson. There's a big massage school there, And so I got exposed to Reiki and things like craniosacral work, and just as somebody receiving it, not giving.
Right.
But it got my interest. And when I went back to school, I started as a journalism major because I knew I wanted to write. I was always been interested in writing. And I had a professor take me aside. He said, "I just read your essay. What is your major?" And I said, "My major is journalism." He's like, "Why are you a journalism major?" I said, "Because I want to write." He said, "Well, you already know how to write. Why don't you major in something you're interested in and then write about that?"
Ooh.
And I thought that was great advice.
That is fantastic advice.
I changed my major to become a comparative religion major, which there's not a ton of jobs as a comparative
I was going to say, what
religion
exactly
major.
do you do with that?
You keep going to school, I think.
Okay.
I think you go and get your PhD. But I came out of school and started temping and got a permanent job in marketing at an engineering firm.
Okay.
And then I was writing. I was doing copywriting and editing and pulling together, like, they're kind of like grants, but they're proposals for services and things like that. So that kept my writing very disciplined. I learned how to, like, I just think nothing is wasted. Nothing on your journey is wasted ever. And that seems so far afield of what I'm doing now, but it really taught me how to be disciplined about having a business and my work. I wrote every day, whether the muse came or not,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
I can still do that. I can just sit down and write if I need to. So that's
a great
very
tool
helpful.
to have. Yeah, that's a great tool to have.
It is.
Wow. And how long did you do that?
I worked there for 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've said a couple times your first husband.
Yes.
So how long were you married?
We were married for, I think, 5 years altogether.
So
Yeah.
when you came back, did he come back with you?
No. My father started getting sick, and so it was kind of like a conglomeration of things. My marriage was falling apart there. I kind of decided to stay in Tucson for a year after we separated, just to see if things could work out.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad, he had multiple sclerosis, and he was deteriorating. He had moved in with my grandparents because he needed help, and my grandparents basically said, I think it's time for somebody, I think it's time to come home and help. So I came home, and I, was then a caregiver on the weekends. I went to school. I lived in Philly during the week, and on the weekends I came and took care of my dad and my grandparents and things like that. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a full
I was
load.
going to say, that's
Yeah.
full plate right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay, so you're separated from your husband, you move back home, you're a
Mhm.
caretaker, you're going to school full time.
Yep.
All right. So you graduate with your degree, you get a job at an engineering firm,
Still taking care of my dad.
still taking care of your dad.
Yeah, and I was very busy, and it just was a lot. It was usually more than 40 hours a week. It was just really intense. And my dad, lived out of town, so I would go, and I would sometimes date people, sometimes not. It was just really hard because I remember saying to somebody, like, I can go on a date with you, but I can only go Thursday and Sunday night. It was
Exactly.
Like,
Those are the only days I have.
only days I have. So it was a challenging time for sure, but I loved my work too.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that can get into anything. I read about roads. I loved roads, I just really got into research. The research part is just part of my DNA, I think.
Well, you like to feed the brain.
Yeah.
Keep the brain fed.
Yeah, exactly.
And you said when you were in Sedona, Tuscany, that you learned about Reiki and a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And you experienced it, but you did not practice it.
Yeah.
So at what point did you begin the spiritual journey of practicing?
Well, I worked at the engineering firm until I had my first baby, which
Okay.
was 12 years ago. And then I sort of decided to stay home with her. And my husband, my second husband, he, was the one working. He's a nurse anesthetist. And so it gave me freedom to explore. So I've always done art, and I started doing a lot of artwork and writing and doing that kind of stuff. And it was all just for me. And then my second daughter was stillborn. I had a full-term stillbirth, my second daughter. And I was obviously a mess. I was really emotional and emotionally spent, grief-stricken. And I started painting. I took a class on grief, exploring grief through art. And it was my friend Kara Jones taught it, and she goes by Mother Hannah. She's amazing, and she'd gone through the same thing, so she kind of knew how to hold space. And I started painting and exploring my grief that way. And as I started painting, I realized like the only time I had moments of peace were when I was painting. And my daughter at that time was 20 months old, so I would just set her up with an easel and paints, and she would paint the couch and the wall. I did not care at all.
It didn't matter.
No, I was just getting, we were just, this is our time to paint. I'm not going to worry about cleaning up.
Right.
And what a gift that was, that I just like, grief was just really reprioritizing. And I started painting these little bodhisattvas, and they're called Mizuko Jizos, and they are specifically for women who have lost children. And I just kept painting them. They have like a little red bib, and they're Japanese Buddhist, Zen Buddhist, but they're specifically from Japan, and they kind of came up at a time when women were losing a lot of children right after the Second World War. And they just were so beautiful. And I would go into meditation and paint them, and then send them to other women who had lost children all over the world. And at some point I realized, like, I was not losing time in the traditional sense of like, I don't know what happened, but I would start painting and then there'd be 15 of them, and wow. 3 hours would go by, and I was like, what happened, And I realized now that I was channeling those paintings. They were just coming through me. Right. So that's when I think I started re-examining my spiritual journey, because even when I was studying religion, it was always about what other people thought about God. And I would always be like an arm's length away from faith. I could never just quite go there and believe. I was always stuck in this, but they think this about women, or I have to do this if I believe this. It was always about the religion and not about the actual relationship with God.
Gotcha.
And that was liberating, because I started really kind of getting into that space where I started developing a relationship with God. And I didn't know what that looked like, but it just started coming, and I felt really spiritual. And the grief kind of was just opening, where I kind of felt like, well, I would never make peace with the fact that my child wasn't with me, but I would make peace in myself despite that. Do you know what I mean? So it was a profound time, a really traumatic but profound time. And during that time I ended up deciding to not drink, because I was noticing with grief, the drinking was getting a little out of control, and I would kind of quit drinking and start drinking, and I ended up going into a recovery program, and that was the game changer for me. And then I really was spiritually connecting and feeling really important connections between people and earth, and my spirituality just blossomed. And it was then that I was like, I need a teacher, because I don't know what to do with all of this stuff that's coming, getting psychic hits, getting empathic hits, all of that stuff. So then I started going to a meditation group with my first real spiritual teacher, which is who's Rita Strauss. And she did these groups called Harmonic Healing with the Angels. And there'd just be a group of us, and she would lead us in meditation and channel, angels, ascended masters, things like that, and kind of teach us about doing it for ourselves. And that was just mind-blowing to me. It was once a month, and I went every month, with my sister. It was good, and I met an amazing group of people who I'm still friends with, from that. So.
And how long ago was that?
That was in 2012, 2011, 2012.
Okay.
I guess it was 2011. I can't remember. I don't. Dates are not
fine.
great.
Yeah, I'm not great with dates either.
But it was amazing. Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned before the show started that you realized after you stopped drinking that part of your drinking was to silence what was going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've always been psychic and, just really attuned to things. I remember, being able to see people passed over, or angels, or I remember seeing the Virgin Mary when I was a kid. And
now, do you remember thinking that everybody saw what you saw?
well, I
Or did
remember,
you know
and
it
this
was-
is not like my mother was an amazing mother, but I said to her that my sister and I both saw the Virgin Mary in our home, and we said to my mother that we saw the Virgin Mary, and I remember her saying, "Only special children get to see the Virgin Mary, and that only happens very rarely," because she was thinking the children of the Lord's,
I was
Fatima.
well, Mom, you got them right here. You gave birth to two specials.
Right, and but I knew what she was saying. She was like, maybe you're just making it up, and and at the time that probably was the safest thing for her to say. So I want to say that I had a great mom,
Right,
but
right.
sometimes we don't know the gifts that our children are telling us about when they're saying it,
Right.
and so I thought, okay, I didn't really see the Virgin Mary, and
Right.
it wasn't until my sister and I were talking later that we're like, yeah, we were seeing the
We
Mother
saw
Mary.
her.
We saw her.
We
She was
saw
friends
her.
with us.
Mom doesn't know what she's talking about.
She was our friend.
Exactly. Speaking of friends, tell the story about what were their names? The kids.
Oh yeah, Amy and Bobby.
Amy and Bobby.
Yeah, when we my sister and I got older, my mother told us that we had friends in the house, that we had friends that were ghosts in the house named Amy and Bobby, and we had whole stories, and we were 3 and 4, and my sister and I thought that they were real people that we played with.
Because that's what you saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would come over, and we told them they died in a car accident, and they lived down the street, and all kinds of stuff like that. And I don't have a recollection of them being like anything but kids.
Anything but real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you what they look like today, So, there was things like that over and over again that I never put together, And I didn't know that was weird. And I remember being a teenager, and my mother, I don't know why, I felt like something was going on with us, my sister and I, and me and her best friend and my closest friends, she took us all to an Edgar Casey channel and left all us teenage kids there to get information because she felt like we were going down the wrong path and Edgar Casey could help us,
Wow.
So it was like, that's how my mom, was so great. She's just like,
yeah, that's very,
you're having trouble? No,
here.
we don't need a psychologist. We'll go to
We'll take care of this.
Yeah. But
And
I
was it
exposed,
helpful? Do you remember?
I remember a lot of it was about the earth.
Okay.
A lot of it was about caring for the earth, and it was very predictive of what's happening right now.
Wow.
As I think back. I don't remember a lot of it applying to my individual life.
Okay.
And at the time I was like, who am I going to go out with next? Like that's all I cared about
Exactly.
as a teenager. So I was like, I don't care about the earth. Tell me
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I mean, it was great to be exposed to that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
nothing's weird to me now, It's just whatever. I've been exposed to it all, yeah.
And your dad must have rolled with it too.
Yeah, my dad was very Catholic, but...
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
That
they both were,
Yeah.
They both were, but this was just part of... They didn't see it as different then.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I was very lucky. Yeah.
Okay.
I never got persecuted from my family for my beliefs,
That's fantastic.
Never had to be in the broom closet. Let's put it that way.
You didn't have to come out.
Yeah.
So, grief is what sent you on the search.
Yeah. Grief
So
is
you-
my sacred opener.
You find your I like that, sacred opener.
Mm-hmm.
You find your meditation circle.
Yeah.
You go all the time.
Yeah. And I kind of had set an intention. I was doing other things like online classes too, and I did.
I was going to say, what kind of online classes?
So Sage, you know who Sage Goddess is? Athena Parakis.
No.
She has an Etsy shop, but her first class I was in called Magical Sabbatical, and she did like a medicine bundle it was a blue moon, and I think it was 2012, and I'd been going to Rita's circles for a while, and my intention was to open my third eye,
Okay.
and to be more psychic. And immediately I was, like, within a week or two, I got really sick, like, weakened. I went to the doctor, found out I was extremely anemic. And then I went to a nutritionist because I wasn't eating enough protein. So then I had to tweak all this. And meanwhile, I'm going like, I just set the intention of my third eye, and I'm not able to even meditate. Like,
Right.
I was like,
what is going on?
what the hell is going on? And so 2 months of this, like getting my health in check. And then I was at Rita's harmonic healing with the angels. And I close my eyes. She starts this journey, and I see this beautiful woman she had like a long white dress on, and she had the pipe, and it was like in the plains, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is the most beautiful thing. And then Rita says, White Buffalo Calf Woman is here with us. And I was like, oh, I still get and everything Rita said I had seen 2 steps before she said it. And I was like, oh my goodness. Wow. And Rita would often go around and give everybody a message. And when she got to me, she started channeling this message and saying, you're a healer. You need to be healing people. You need to be putting your hands on people. You need to be... And she just kept saying all this stuff. And I thought that was really cool, but I didn't really know what that meant. And then the class ended, and this older gentleman came up to me, and he said, would you lay your hands on my wife? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Right. I didn't even know what that really meant, besides like revivals and things like that. He said, no, just, lay your hands on my wife. And she was there, and she was in a chair. And they were like they were older. Mm-hmm. And I said, I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to do any of that. He said, just do it. Just put your hands on it. Rita just said, you're a healer. Listen to her. Do it. Mm-hmm. And so I like closed my eyes, and I said, God, just direct me where you want me to go. And I put my hands on her shoulder and her hip. Mm-hmm. And when I closed my eyes, I saw her whole body in a grid, and I could see the light from my hands connecting and hitting all the internal organs between those 2 points. And I was like, I felt like electric shock. I didn't know what was happening. Uh-huh. And she said, how did you know where to go? And I said, I don't know where. I don't know. She said, I've been to 3 neurologists and pain specialists. I have a pain in my hip and a pain in my shoulder, and they can't find the connection for them. And I started talking, and I said, oh, it's the connection in your neck, and they're connected by something. I could see it. Uh-huh. And all of that ended up being true when she went, and I was like, okay, there's something here. Wow. And a couple months later, I went to like a New Year's intention setting, mm-hmm. and in the meditation, I saw myself on a massage table, and all the chakra points were lit up, and they were going straight to the sky, and Metatron was there. I didn't know that was who it was. It's just this angel with, I wrote down 100-foot wings. Wow. And when I told Rita, she said, oh, that's what they call Metatron. And, wow. And so I enrolled in massage school, like, the next day. I just was like, I guess this is it. This is what they're calling me to do. Okay. And so I went to massage school.
Excellent.
And I started going to massage school, and I realized this wasn't the path.
It was your foot in the door.
Well,
maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. I loved it. Right. I actually loved massage school, but it just was so allopathic and so medical, mm-hmm. that wasn't what I was seeing. Right. I was seeing something else. So I got attuned by Rita Strau for Reiki 1 during that time.
That's the gateway drug.
It is the gateway. And so what happened was that opened me up. Uh-huh. And then all of a sudden, all these posts started popping up for crystal healing class through Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy. Okay. And when I looked at it, I sat down with my husband, had a come to Jesus moment, and I was like, I don't think massage is my path. I think this is my path. And he said, well, it doesn't bother me. Do it. Right. And he was so supportive. And so I dropped out of massage school and enrolled in crystal healing school.
So you didn't finish massage school?
Nope.
Okay. No,
all right. Yeah, I did. Cool. 4 months or what I did the first semester. Uh-huh. And then did Crystal Healing Academy and did my Certified Crystal Healer program. And then I went on to get the Advanced Crystal Master program that she does. So it was basically a year of training with her. So it was incredible. And once I had my CCH, I launched my business almost immediately.
And what's the name of your business?
It was the Moon and Stone Healing. Yeah. Stone Healing. Yeah, and I lived in South Jersey at the time, so I kind of had a storefront name, and now that doesn't apply as much anymore because I work for Altiview. So, yeah.
Okay, now how long did you work in Jersey? You launched your own business. Here I am.
6 months.
Okay.
My husband said, I got I want to move out of the city. And I was like, are you kidding me? I just set up my business. I also read tarot, and I've always read tarot from the time I was like 15. My sister and I bought a tarot deck together, and we always read. So
Did you read for friends and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I would like not have a deck for a couple of years, and I'd pick up a deck, and I'd not have a deck. So when I started going to the meditation circle, the people in meditation circle would ask me to read for them. Mm-hmm. And I always had like the book next to me. Mm-hmm. I was just not a confident reader. And that was why I wanted to open my third eye, because I just wanted to get off book. And one day I did. Rita was actually my first client. Because she just was like, oh, would you read for me? And I was like, sure. I always read for friends. I always read for free for friends. And they would come over, we'd have coffee, and I'd read tarot, and we'd talk. And Rita put $40 on the table and said, you need to take this money. You need to start charging for this. This is incredible. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And she was like, Angie, you frame it or do something with it. But you're keeping that money because you can't keep offering yourself without an energy exchange. And she was one of those people that really emphasized that there had to be an energy exchange with healing. And whether that's money or something else, you're trading or doing, it has to be an energy exchange, or you're just going to get drained and burn out.
Yes.
So she was very adamant. So when I launched the Moon and Stone Healing, I started doing crystal healings, Reiki, and then also tarot readings. So yeah, and I was also doing all the different classes I did online. So it was like a lot of learning and, all that. So it's a lot.
You don't half-ass anything, do you?
No,
you're all in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was really committed,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very busy, but that's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I had 2 little kids.
Your hubby says, we're moving.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sick of... He was driving into Philly every day. I can't do this drive anymore. It's just killing me. And I said, all right, I guess. It just kept feeling like I was just following the path that was opening. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, your will, not mine be done, God. Whatever happens, happens. And so I moved here, and we were looking for a house, and I was kind of doing some distance healing and distance reading work. And I think we were here 5 or 6 months, and I came to one of Sharon's circles. Mm-hmm. And it was like women energy healing. It was me and 2 other people. And I just introduced myself, and Sharon said, so when are you going to come work for me?
That's Sharon.
And I was like, I don't know. I got really like nervous.
Yeah, like
man, I got to put the pedal to the metal now. And it took me quite a few weeks to call her, because that same day I found out I was pregnant. So I was like in a crazy whirlwind. And I was like, do I start working somewhere right after and I told her right away. And she said, no, come. You can have a baby and then come back to work whenever you want. Mm-hmm. And we sat down to talk the first time. It was like 2 hours flew by. I didn't even know. She's like a sister from another mister. And it was just so easy. And it felt so right. And so then I started my business here. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. So, let's get into the long list of things that you do.
Yeah.
Because not only do you work here, you also work for...
Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with your work here at AltaView.
Okay.
What do you offer here?
So here I offer tarot. I still read tarot. Mm-hmm. What I do are crystal healing sessions that combine Reiki, so I'm a Reiki master now.
Okay.
I combine Reiki, I combine 13 octave Lahochi, that's another modality that I do, which is calling in the angels, and it's an energy healing modality. I do, Reiki, 13 octave Lahochi. I've been trained as a shamanic practitioner, so I do earth medicine healing, healing with plant medicine, animal medicine, and stone medicine, which is what crystal healing is, and I use the drum. I've been attuned to the drum through transformational Reiki. And so I combine that all in a session. So I wouldn't say, now I'm doing transformational Reiki. What I do is I just go in and so the person just, lays down on my table, and then I just go in and whatever's needed I do. So sometimes they get herbs blown over them. Sometimes they just get drums or,
It's whatever you need.
Whatever you need,
yep,
yeah. It's very intuitive.
You pull from your toolkit.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's what you do in sessions here.
Yes, and then I also offer classes. So I do a 9-month psychic development circle. I do a level 1 and a level 2. Level 1's really for personal trust in your psychic abilities. And that was kind of part of the gift that Rita gave me as my first teacher, and I hope to pass on to people, just to start validating, believing in themselves. So that's what that circle is. It started as a circle just for women, and then I was asked to do a circle for men, so I just like put it out there, and I had 11 men sign up for my first circle.
Oh, nice.
That was 2 years ago. They just finished level 2 now. So
oh, wow.
yeah, and then the second level is more about holding space for other people and walking into it as a teacher and a leader. And so that's also 9 months, so we kind of take the summers off. And so those circles are really, like, I can't make anybody psychic, but I can help them take away the stuff that is blocking them.
Okay.
So that's basically what the circle's about. And I expose them to a lot of different things, like tools like shamanic journey as a tool, and connecting with the angels and channeling, things that Rita gave me as a teacher, and things that my other teacher, Pixie Lighthorse, gave me, and Hibiscus Moon gave me as another teacher. So those are my 3 big mentors. So with my work, yeah.
Excellent.
So I do that. I teach tarot. I teach a 9-week course in tarot. I do a lot of like individual classes, like Crystals 101. I do different kind of crystal classes, crystal grids.
And they're like one-day classes?
Yeah, one-day workshops.
Okay.
Doing, like I did Intro to Shamanic Journey in early May, and I'm doing Intro to the Medicine Wheel to talk about how to use the medicine wheel for healing. I've taught classes here on shamanic painting and combining artwork and, some of the channeling work that I did. I kind of guide others in through Shamanic Journey. And then Sharon and I do a monthly healing circle. We do Shamanic Journey. So it's really fun. Sharon guides a shamanic journey, so she'll be talking the whole time, and I will do hands-on healing on everybody who comes. So we sometimes we kind of go up to about 16 as our max. So I'll lay stones and animal medicine on them, and I get messages, and Sharon's getting messages, and I drum and rattle over everybody.
You say animal what?
Animal medicine.
What is animal medicine?
Like I'll put a feather or something to represent
the
animal that they're getting, that I'm getting for them in Shamanic Journey when I drop it.
That? Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. So we do those once a month, and last year each month was a different chakra, and this month we're taking 2 tarot cards and doing it. So Sharon and I are both really connected to tarot, so we're having so much fun with that. And this month we're doing the Lovers and the Devil together, which will be so fun. Light and dark. It'll be great.
Did you have a question? No, I thought I saw a hand go. Okay, I was going to say light and dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Now,
with
when
the Devil
do you do
and Lovers.
those?
We do that on the last Thursday of the month.
Last Thursday.
The only time we don't do that is October, where it changes the date because of Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah, kids trick-or-treating, but
all that sugary stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, yeah.
Well, you have a lot going on here.
Yeah, I do a lot.
Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you to schedule a session with you, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, generally I book my own sessions, so you can call me directly.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Would you like to give Jen your phone number to post?
Yeah, it's 717-770-9109. And I book directly,
Yeah. And do you have set days that you work?
So
or
I
is
have
it by appointment?
because I have a 4-year-old.
I was going to say, you
my,
have 3 kids.
I gave birth, and then came back to work, and he's 4 now. So I usually see clients Mondays and Fridays, and then occasional weekends. So I usually work around schedules, But if somebody needs a different day, I sometimes can work that out too. So, yeah.
Excellent. Now I thought I was stalking you a little bit.
Oh, good.
I thought I read something about when school's over,
Yes.
it opens up your schedule a bit.
Yes,
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So my schedule will open a little more because my daughter's now able to babysit. So my 12-year-old. So yeah, that'll change a little bit. So yeah, I'll have more days and then
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your hibiscus.
Yeah, hibiscus moon.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
talk about that.
So when I went through the Advanced Crystal Master course, she extended an invitation to interview for the Crystal Coach position, which basically is answering questions for the students while we're in session. So we're in session for 10 weeks. We go through all the classes, or 9 weeks, sorry, going through all the classes. And she wanted somebody to answer questions for the students about the content. And as a working crystal healer, she wanted people that were familiar. So she hired me and another man, and I've been doing that for 5 years now. And then 2 years ago, she asked me if I wanted to take the curriculum specialist position, which is developing curriculum. And so she's given me some freedom to teach classes. And when I started doing that, I started doing live office hours. So every week I go live on Facebook, just like this, and I answer questions from our students about the content. And, once you do the training, then you go out into the real world and you start seeing people. And then someone comes on your table and they're like, yeah, I've got diabetes, what's good for that? And
right.
You're like, I wasn't trained in that,
I don't know.
So they come in with those kind of questions like, I was in a session and someone started coughing a lot. What does that mean? Or, crystal fell off and broke and I didn't know what to do. And, so I'm kind of helping and coaching them through their practice or obviously through the curriculum first, but then also people in practice. So it is like one of the highlights of my week. So much joy. We have about 500 students in the group. So
that's fantastic.
And then it gets archived, and it's a whole library. So I have 2 years worth of those videos for our students, which is awesome. She's just given me so much freedom and latitude to be a teacher and step into that role. So it's been really wonderful.
And you said creating curriculum. What new curriculum have you added?
Well, I actually don't add a lot of curriculum,
okay.
But I help her develop her curriculum. So
gotcha. Okay.
A lot of that is like, hey, our students, they want more info here. Can you find some resources, or what do you think of? We have a couple required texts.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be things like, what do you think will be a good reading for this, or what are quiz questions that would be good?
Gotcha.
So I develop that kind of stuff, how to challenge our students, how to bring the most out of the content. I tweak the resources and things like that. So it's fun. It's always changing. So, and she's an amazing scientist, so she's always researching and changing her ideas and updating things.
She continues to grow and evolve like we're
love
supposed
that.
to. That's fantastic.
Oh gosh, it's the best part of having a teacher like that, is that they're always thinking and challenging themselves, and,
yes.
and that makes you better.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
And it gives you, like you said, she gives you the freedom to grow and evolve as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Now, you said as a kid your mother used to give you crystals, so you've always been connected with the crystals.
Yeah. The crystals have always been part of my journey.
And you've always known the healing powers of them, not just their pretty rocks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I always thought they were just cool. Like,
Uh-huh.
I didn't really have anything. I always wanted to be with them, but I didn't really know a lot about it. And actually with my sister did Reiki first before I did. And she was reading a crystals and Reiki book or something like that. And she said, it says here that you can just lay crystals on the body. Do you want me to do that to you? And I was like, cool,
sure.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I was like a Reiki
A junkie,
whore,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, just do it. Anytime you want to do
Energy
it, I'm
whore,
good. Yeah.
right here.
Yeah. Anytime you want to practice, I'm up for it. So she laid crystals on my body, and that's really what sent me into this, like, I have to do this. Whatever this is what I want to give to people. This is the healing that I want to do. And it was like during that time I was in massage school. So, all of that it just all flowed together at the same time. So once you get a session, once you get a session, it if you're connected and that's your path, I mean, it's just, you immediately click in, you feel the energy, and, it's just
You want to help people the way it's helped you.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the bottom line.
Yeah, it's been a major shifter for me, and it continues to be. I continue to try to use it for my healing and find new ways, to use it. So
I know that Lloyd had a session with you, and he got off that table like, I don't know what the hell she does, but it is freaking amazing.
Yeah, I love working on other healers, I have to say.
Yeah, he was like, wow.
When people are open and they know the energy, they just kind of, it gets so deep, it's just wonderful. But, I've worked on people who don't know anything about this stuff and are blown away by it. And,
like, what is this?
Yeah. I don't know what you just did, but I feel like I smoked a joint, and I'm like, that's the cool thing about
exactly.
it.
Who needs that?
Yeah.
Have a crystal.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have a go-to crystal? Is there one that's your favorite, or?
Well, there's ones for different things. Like right now, I'm just kind of obsessed with chrysocolla, and
And
I
what
love
is that?
It's a copper-based stone. It's it's kind of turquoisey, aqua.
Nice.
And, all the copper, like malachite, turquoise, they're all copper, bases. So chrysocolla grows with them, so that it often grows with cuprite, turquoise, shattuckite, malachite. So they're kind of all combined, and it looks like the earth.
Oh, nice.
And I became obsessed with it in a healing session with somebody, where they were kind of healing some other wounds, like wounds with their mother and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always drop into Journey when I was just working on this woman's feet. And I dropped in Journey and I saw Mother Earth sitting there, and she was like weaving or knitting. She was taking like sticks and moss and wheat and like knitting it together in a blanket. And she put it over my client. And I was like it was such a beautiful scene. There was like a waterfall, and it was just gorgeous. And that turned into a chrysocolla heart. Oh. And she said, "This is how you use me. This is how you use chrysocolla for people who are healing and need loving and nurturing from the earth." And so I began using chrysocolla for myself.
Right.
I mean, I have a lovely mother. I don't have that kind of wound, but learning self-care as I've gotten older has been the most important part of my path.
Mm-hmm.
So chrysocolla has become like a staple for me, and I wear it most days, and I always have it with me. So that's kind of my go-to. But I love black tourmaline for protection as a healer. I kind of said I had to figure out how to do this because I was like a live wire, and black tourmaline was the first thing that really helped me with that stuff, with the being like a raw nerve in the world.
I was going to say, we have a lot of new people that watch the show.
Yeah.
So could you explain that a little bit? Because a lot of them could be going through it and don't even realize it.
Yeah, well, one of the things about being an empath and being a psychic is that you are really attuned to energy. So the way I describe it energetically is that we are really susceptible to entraining with any energy that's around us. And the body is constantly looking for homeostasis. So, when you're hanging out with somebody who feels good, you feel good. So if your energy's here and their energy's up there, you come here, right, and they come here. So,
it's a compromise.
We entrain, right. It goes the other way, too. If you're here and you're with somebody who's really negative and complaining, your energy comes down and they come up, and they're like, "Wow, I love hanging out with you. I feel so great."
And you're like, "Oh God, I can't take it."
Like, I got a headache. I need a nap.
Oh yes.
Like I'm not talking to another human for 2 days.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, this is the issue we have as humans, not just empaths, but all of us humans. And empaths tend to be a little more sensitive in that way. We kind of flux more up and down in crowds, those kind of things. And I think we have a lot of anxiety and depression as a result of that constant flux. So crystals, we entrain with crystals, but crystals, they might be up here, we'll entrain with them, but they don't come down to us.
They stay stable where they are.
Right. So I think the best gift that it gives us vibrationally is to keep a stable vibration for us, so that we aren't we're not entraining with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that walks by us, that we're just staying stable. So when we wear crystals, like I'm wearing, this is tourmaline quartz with black tourmaline and regular clear quartz, I'm staying stable. I don't have to, jump all over the place. So I can hold space for someone who's releasing a negative and sick. I can sit with them without my vibration going way low and then me being wiped out for 2 days afterwards. So, crystals become an energetic tool. Can you do that work on your own? Absolutely. But the crystals are a tool that we can use to help stabilize our vibration. And that's a gift that we have. So you can think of, black tourmaline as being one to help protect our energy field. It has piezoelectricity, so it helps transmute energy as it comes at us. Meaning when it's given high vibration or high amplitude energy, it will transmute into something that we can process and we can deal with a little easier. Okay. Things like rose quartz put us into a vibration that's like a love vibration.
Yes.
So that's why there's all these different crystals, and you'll read in books about what they all do. They are just talking about what most people feel when they that's like 80% of the people will feel that same thing from the book.
Right.
So,
and it's funny, Jen has a friend who is a pharmaceutical doctor. And we often talk about how gifted she would be if she's a gifted doctor now,
Yeah.
but turned to the crystals
Mm-hmm.
because, what I hear and what I see is the original medicine women and men, that's what they used.
Yeah.
We didn't pill people. We
Yeah.
gave them natural
Mm-hmm.
ways of healing, and crystals
Absolutely.
were a huge part of that. Put
Yeah.
together little bags. I put together a little bag for my daughter to have in her lunchbox to
Mhm.
help calm the negativity at
Yeah.
lunch. And, it's, why not? What's it
Yeah.
hurt, right?
Right.
Those people that are skeptics, what's it going to hurt?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting because I've had just in the past couple of weeks a lot of people that come to me and they don't realize that they're carrying other people's stuff,
Yeah.
and just giving them the tools to realize that it's not their stuff. They're
Mhm.
like, I feel so heavy and I feel so sad and I don't know why. My life is actually pretty good. And
Yeah.
it's you walk through a room, and I always describe it as that magnet toy where you draw the guy with the beard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like you're that magnet. You walk
Mhm.
through that room and you collect all this
Right.
stuff and you don't know it.
Yeah.
Now you know it. We're giving you tools.
Yeah.
You got to control it.
And I'm sure as a healer, you feel this too, but like most of my job isn't calling in energy. It's releasing
Yes.
the stuff that people
The
are carrying.
debris.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just
Exactly.
like, you need healers to be the, people that are clearing that energy
Yes.
off, and they know what to do with it.
Yes,
It's, I'm
exactly.
just not just like sticking it on my ground and like letting somebody else step into
Here.
it. Yeah. Here's this pile of shit that everyone's
Exactly.
carrying. I know how to transmute that energy. That's what I was trained to do.
Yes, exactly.
My training wasn't just about all the woo-woo stuff. The training was like how to clean up. I'm like the cleaner.
Yes, and it's amazing the
yeah.
different tools that they give you to do so.
Mhm.
But yes,
Yeah.
that's what I've been describing. Is I clear the debris to make room for more love.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because now then they can do their work.
Yes.
It's like people say, "Oh, can you make me more psychic?" No, you do that. I can help take the
Yes.
stuff off you for you to explore that, but that's not my role.
No, and
Yeah,
one of
it's
my
your role.
favorite memes is that
Yeah.
one that I don't heal. I'm a healer, but I don't heal you.
Yes.
I give you the tools to heal yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And they're words that I live by.
Mhm, me
And-
too.
And it's it's quite a gift.
Yeah.
But
Empowering my clients is a big deal. And as a shamanic practitioner, when I started really training in this stuff, the vulture came in as my guide for that work.
Mhm.
And that's been a powerful totem to have. It's not the one everybody wants, but he really picks off the dead stuff, and
Right.
that's my job,
That's
is to
what we do.
Yeah, pick off the dead stuff.
So what's the difference between shamanic journeying and Reiki?
So Reiki is an energy healing modality that's we channel that energy.
Mhm.
Shamanic journey is a tool that's, like a guided, I shouldn't even say guided, but you go in to get information. So you drop into like a alpha, beta state to get information about healing. So shamanic practitioners have been around, they're the oldest healers in recorded history, 40,000 years of recorded history about shamanic practitioners. And they all share the same journey world, the same three worlds, and they go in for information. So shamanic journey is a tool that we can use as a personal meditation tool. We think of it as a meditation. So you drop into a meditative journey and you get information. You talk to that person's guides, their higher self. You see the energy body rather than the physical body, which can sometimes be misleading, right? When you see the physical body. So when we drop into the energy, when you drop into shamanic journey, we go in to talk and heal the energy body. And we can do a lot of physical healing in that realm too, but it's different. So shamanic healing sessions often involve mixing in different medicines like plants with aromatherapy, oils, burning of the herbs, actually taking herbs through teas or things like that. Plant medicine, animal medicine. We use the animal as a guide, and then the stones. The stones are the other earth medicine that we use in shamanic healing sessions. Yeah.
So when I asked you about animal medicine, you said the feather. Are there any other?
Yeah, we usually use parts of the animal, like fetish items, to represent the healing they're doing. So in session, I usually don't use a lot of animal medicine. I'll use a vulture feather to do feather doctoring. meaning I use it to pull out energy in the energy field.
Okay.
I'll use owl or hawk to soothe the energy, kind of bring it in and bring the vision in.
Okay.
So I'm working with the feather to kind of guide either the plant medicine when I'm smudging or to smooth the energy field.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
that's how I'll work it in. But when I'm in Journey, I'll drop in and talk to the animal guides.
That's cool.
Pretty woo-woo.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty woo-woo, but that's very cool.
Yeah.
So you do all this stuff. Do you do any sound therapy?
I do drumming and rattling with
Okay.
that, and then, that's kind of the
no
way.
voice?
I do sing sometimes.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I feel like you might be a singer.
Yeah. I'm not a good singer, but I'm often drawn to tone, when I'm working on somebody or singing songs.
It's all vibration.
The earth, yeah. Pixie, my teacher, always says that song is the language of the earth, and that we should always be praying through song. So in the morning I sing the names up of the people I'm doing Reiki for, and that's how I begin my Reiki with, distance Reiki for people.
So you offer distance sessions as well?
Yeah.
We did not speak of that.
Yeah, I do. I don't do a lot of them actually,
Okay.
but I do have a going list of people I do Reiki for. Like people that are sick or people
Right.
that are going through hard times, and I write their name and sing their names up, and then I'm just kind of do a group Reiki send. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing too formal. Yeah.
That's very cool. Okay, so if somebody wanted to sign up or even see your list of classes, where can they go?
So AltaView Wellness Center's website has
Okay.
a list of all the classes at AltaView, of
Perfect.
which mine are here. So it's altaviewwellness.com.
Okay.
So you can go there, and then I have a website, just angieyingst.com, where you can see my
Your
stuff.
specific
Yeah,
classes.
that's my specific classes, but it's better to just do the altaviewwellness.com. She's much better at keeping her website up to date than I am. So,
Keeping it all current.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's information on I know she's very active on Facebook as well.
Yes,
For AltaView.
yes,
So,
she's wonderful with that.
Check out the AltaView Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure there's contact information for getting all the
Yes,
classes that way.
absolutely. Yeah,
And then again, it's your phone number if they want to schedule
Yep.
personal sessions with you.
yeah,
Okay, so
Absolutely.
at the end of every interview,
yeah.
we ask the question, do you have any pearls of wisdom for our viewers? Like I said, we have a lot of new people to the spiritual community. We have people that have been on the journey but are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
The energies of 2019 are pretty intense.
They are very intense.
Very intense. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for our viewers out there?
Well, I mean, I embrace the archetype of being the wounded healer. So if you're waiting to get healed before you start this journey to heal others, you're always going to be waiting to heal others. So in my opinion, it's really important to just follow the path laid out in front of you. Don't second guess your worth. Everybody's worthy of this work. And the reason that I hold my classes in circle is that no one is the leader, We're all equal in the circle. And that's why I think circles are really important. But, if you're waiting to get healed, you're going to wait a long time. All of us will continue healing. I was just saying to somebody, it's like you peel off the onion. You think, oh, I'm done here. I've done my work. And then there's a whole other onion in there. You go, oh my gosh, how many freaking onions are there?
Exactly.
So it's just like you just keep peeling off, and there's more and more and more. And, my guides always say, all you need to do is be the hollow bone while you're in session.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. So I'm just always praying that I can leave my stuff outside, but not forget that I have stuff.
No.
I have stuff.
No.
It's just I'm going to leave it outside the healing room while I'm here, and I've trained just to be present with people.
The hollow bone.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because those people that have that block that I have to be healed before I can heal.
Yeah.
What they fail to realize is as you help heal others, you are healing yourself,
Oh,
because anything that
absolutely.
comes up in any session has always helped me.
Yes.
Somewhere along my path. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm always attentive to those lessons, and sometimes they start to bombard me and smack me about my face. But, which has happened recently. In the past couple of days, I've been whacked upside the head with my own words.
That is very
which
true.
has been interesting. But yes, you know, if we were all completely healed, our purpose here would be done.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be here any longer.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I love those words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Will you be doing any shows anytime recently? Do you do...
I do Spirit of Oneness.
Spirit of Oneness,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that's Sharon's baby. So
Yes.
Altaview is a sponsor. You know, we're the ones who hold that. So all of us here chip in, and we're there all weekend. And
Excellent.
yeah,
We'll be there.
that's
We'll
my
be shooting
favorite.
live from there too.
Yeah. This is a wonderful weekend.
But now I
so.
know that you all did the Etheric Connections
Mhm.
show, but you don't normally do shows, do you?
I
mean,
you
you
know,
do Spirit of Oneness, but
yeah, I haven't done a ton.
Okay.
But I have got so many balls in the air. But Sharon and I always talk about doing more.
okay.
So yeah, we're always open to it. So.
Okay, but you got nothing on the plate right
Nothing
now
on
that
the
you want to
plate
plug.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so
Thank
much. It has
you.
been great getting
It's
to
been
know
really
you.
Nice to get to know you.
I'd
too.
love to get on your table at some point.
Oh gosh, anytime. I love it.
All
Yeah.
right. Jen, do we have anything?
No questions, just love.
Just love.
Aw, lots of
All
love.
right, we're sending the love right back. Thank you all for joining us. And don't forget you're awesome. Nope.